Hey G-Fans, GojiFan93 here and welcome to another top 10 list. In this video I will be counting down my top 10 favorite Godzilla video games. Now I actually did this video probably over 2 years ago and I thought that it would be a good time to do a redux of this video because of the new Godzilla vs. game that has come out, and my opinions have kind of changed over time with how I wanted to set up the list. Some games from the original list might not make it into this list. There might be some other games that weren't in that list that are in this one. But without further ado, let's begin. Alright, to start off this list we probably have the best 2D tournament fighting Godzilla game called Godzilla Battle Legends. This game was released on the Turbo Duo, also known as the PC engine. It was released a year before Godzilla Kaiju Daikisen, aka Godzilla Destroy All Monsters, on the Super Famicom, which is the Japanese version of the Super Nintendo. What's odd is this game looks and plays a lot better than the Super Nintendo fighting game. It has way more incarnations of Godzilla to play as, and has other kaiju that were not in the Super Nintendo game. I had a lot of fun playing this game because it didn't really have a hard learning curve like the Super Nintendo game did. This game also just looks great with vibrant graphics and animation. The character sprites look fantastic. Also, this game was released in 1993, so yeah, that's another good reason for me to like it. Next on our list we have the classic NES Godzilla game, Monster of Monsters. I feel that this game is getting more popular lately than it has before, and that's probably due to the recent release of the NECA NES Godzilla figure. Most would say this game is not fun and plays horribly, but I disagree. It's fun even though at times it can get tedious, especially playing as Mothra, but this game still is fun to play. Being able to see your favorite monsters like Gigan, Mechagodzilla, and King Ghidorah in this game is great to see on the NES. If you have not played it, I recommend you do. Now, if you guys have been watching me for a while, you know Godzilla Unleashed is my least favorite Godzilla fighting game in the Atari trilogy. I say the Atari trilogy as in Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee, Save the Earth, and this game as the third in the series from Simon Strange. Once again, I never fully liked this game due to the controls. That's a big thing for me when it comes to playing a video game, especially when it's a fighting game. The Wii controls just made the monsters too sluggish and unresponsive. On the positive side, it does look good for a Wii title, and it does boast probably the biggest roster of Godzilla monsters in a Godzilla game, over with, I think 25 monsters to play as. I also will include the infamous PS2 version, which in my opinion is better just because the game's controls are at least tolerable. Still, not the worst Godzilla game, and it sure can be fun with friends. If you have a Wii and you're dying for some Godzilla action, this would be the only way to get that fix. Alright, coming back from my first list of this, we have Godzilla Daikaiju Battle Royale. This is not an official Toho licensed Godzilla game. It is the only indie game on this list. The game was created by Alex Murdicht, and I had to add this game because, well, it's one hell of a great indie Godzilla game. It has the most kaiju in a fighting game that does not just include Godzilla monsters, but also has other monsters from Toho movies. It even has the legendary Wolfmen. The graphics look great along with the animations. What's great is that the game has grown tremendously over the years with constant updates, and now the game plays better than before. Definitely play this game. Next we have the handheld tie-in to 2002's Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee for the GBA. This game is just fantastic. Super vibrant graphics and a great beat-em-up style control scheme makes this one of the best handheld Godzilla games ever made. The music is also one of the best aspects of it. It gets you super pumped to fight the monsters. The best way to describe this game is to compare it to a game called King of Monsters with a Godzilla coat of paint. Pick this game up. Alright, now we're getting into the great stuff here. We enter the 3D era of Godzilla games. Mario had Mario 64, Zelda had Ocarina of Time, and Godzilla has Generations. This game for the Sega Dreamcast was a perfect simulator of walking around as Godzilla destroying as much as you can in your path. Sure, the game is super dated to today's standards, but I don't care. It's still a great Godzilla game and one game you should not pass up. Godzilla Generations Maximum Impact is somewhat the sequel to Generations, even though it was released in the same year. The game has no obvious connections to the previous mentioned game. The gameplay is also completely different. Instead of having a simulator-style mechanic, it plays like an on-rails shooter, making it the first on-rails Godzilla game. One thing to mention is if you are a Heisei era fan, you will love the theme of this game. The game basically runs down the movies in the Heisei era where you fight the monsters from that series like Biollante, Mechagodzilla 2, Mogera, Space Godzilla, and Destroya. What's really cool is the monster designs are actually based on concepts for the monsters made for the actual movies. Seriously, play this game now. Okay, here we go. This is the latest release for a Godzilla game and was a commercial flop by critics and some fans. Still, this is the kind of Godzilla game that Godzilla Generation should have been back on the Dreamcast. With the most authentic monster models, this game captures the Godzilla movies 100%, making you feel like you are playing in a Godzilla movie. From the sound effects to music, this game is meant for the most die-hard of die-hard fans. If you got a PS4 and love the special effects from the Godzilla movies and how they look, then this is the game for you. Alright, how did Toho celebrate Godzilla's 50th anniversary? Well, first off, make a crazy over-the-top movie that ends the saga of the classic Godzilla movies, make an amazing soundtrack collection that includes all of the film's soundtracks with bonus material, then give the figure collectors probably one of the biggest box of figures with most of the incarnations of Godzilla with his friends and foes. Last, make probably the best Godzilla game ever made. Godzilla Save the Earth for the Xbox and PS2 has got to be hands down the best Godzilla game ever made. Graphics look stunning, especially on the Xbox version. It has a great cast of monsters to play as. The game's music is fantastic and makes an overall great fighting game. Probably the best way to celebrate Godzilla's 50th anniversary. Nothing can beat this game, right? Right? Wrong! This is the best Godzilla game ever made. Obviously this is my opinion, and yours will be different. Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee for the GameCube and Xbox was released in 2002 and was the first Godzilla game I ever played. So I might be a bit biased in making this number one because technically speaking this game came before STE and thus making Save the Earth a superior game. It's true, but the reason to me personally this game is the best just because of how perfect the game is. The graphics on the Xbox still look great. The music is so fierce and intense, making it super memorable and nostalgic to me. The controls, oh god, talk about precise and accurate controls. This game feels superb to play. It's fast-paced and smooth. Yes, it doesn't have the biggest cast of monsters and has cloned characters, but what you get is still some of the best and memorable monsters in Godzilla's history. The game is just perfect to me. I cannot find anything wrong with it. This is a must-own for any Godzilla fan. Hell, even non-Godzilla fans who are gamers will find this game enjoyable. Go play this game now. Alright guys, that's my list. Thank you so much for watching, and post in the comments what your favorite Godzilla video games are. I would love to read them. And as always, stay big, G fans.